Then I bring the notes together. Then I kind of separate them. And then I'm like, okay, will this work? Like I got some right here now. Will this work? Is
Hmm.
this going to work? Is that going to work? Where does it fit? So, and a lot of times I find if I've said something on stage that I think you know, I wasn't scripted or which happens most of the time, and it's funny enough where I say, okay, is it funny enough where I can carry it with me, or is it just funny enough that it worked in Niagara Falls, or it worked
Yeah.
in like with all the car theft in Canada? I was in Toronto, and I got up on stage and I pulled up my phone. I said, before I do my act, I have to make an announcement. I said, the person with the black BMW 7 Series license plate ONT 178, your car's in Africa.
Hey, hey.
Hey, Johnny.
What's going on, Angelo? Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, man. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me on your show.
of course. Anytime I get to talk to a Canadian comic legend like yourself, I'm happy to do it.
That's great.
Legend, dude. I've been
My, my, my fucking gardener just showed up now. Like he's supposed to be here on Monday. Today's Wednesday. You know, if you hear a little bit of background noise,
it's all good. I
uh,
think Zoom will get rid of the noise. I had the same sort of issue. I had a leak in my ceiling, and the contractor, I just came home from work, and the contractor just had all of his stuff in front of my door. And I was like, how did you even get in?
right.
Like, I didn't even buzz you
Yeah,
in.
yeah, exactly.
You just showed up. I was like, all
So
right.
true, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. You are, I mean, I'm sure you know this, that you're big with the Greek community, but literally like since I was 10 years old, one of my best still my best friend to this day, Alex, he's I learned from his Greek family about you because
Isn't that funny, huh?
they were always showing me videos, and then that also is like whenever they think of me doing stand-up comedy, they're like, "Oh, like Angelo, right?"
You know,
And then
Angelo, he does
yeah,
a stand-up
yeah,
comedy
yeah, yeah.
too.
Here, let me show
You're
you.
you're in Toronto, right, John?
I moved to Ottawa actually a couple years
Ottawa.
ago. Yeah, just after the
Okay,
pandemic happened. All my favorite clubs and spots were kind of closing with the pandemic through no fault of
right.
their own, right? So I thought, why not, move to Ottawa and see what the comedy scene is like there, and like
Sure.
be closer to family too for a little bit was a nice thought.
That's where I started, Ottawa.
Oh, no way. I didn't know that. For some
Yeah,
reason, I
yuck
had in my
yucks.
head it was
Yeah,
Montreal.
I mean, look, I'm from Montreal, but I grew up in Ottawa, and
Ah,
I drove across country smoking weed in a '69 Pontiac Parisienne convertible. So my first real sets in a comedy club was a place called Punchline Comedy Theater in Gastown, Vancouver. And I remember the show that night. It was Steve Brender, Tom Crossan, and Wayne Turmel. You never forget.
yeah.
And I came back, and shortly after they opened a club in Ottawa, Yuck Yucks, which had originally opened in Toronto, and that was their first franchise.
Interesting. So when was this?
Oh shit, we're going way back in the '80s.
Okay.
And amateur, just so you understand who was on amateur night, Jeremy Hotz, Norm McDonald, me, Lisa Gay Tremblay, Brett Weir, Brad Lyons, Danny Grignon, Chris Finn. This was amateur night.
Incredible recall on your
Right
part.
after, right after the show, and then later on, Tom Green and those guys, Ben Miner,
Yeah.
John Steinberg, all those guys came on. But that was at the Beacon Arms Hotel on 88 Albert Street, which
Uh,
then became the Capitol Hill Suites. And then Howard Wagman is the one. And then they just had their 40th anniversary in Ottawa. And we used to go to Nate's Deli on Rideau Street.
ah,
And that was my best memories of comedy was,
yeah, yeah.
the guys would
No
come in and
doubt.
we were just like in awe of them.
Yeah, no doubt. Who
Yeah.
like so what for you made you want to go with comedy? Like was it a very intentional thing early on? Was it something that you
No,
just
it's
sort
like,
of stumbled on?
well, I went to Ridgemont High School in Ottawa. But at a younger age, I grew up in a traditional Greek immigrant family. We owned a restaurant. We were in the catering business,
Why do
restaurant.
they all own every Greek I
No,
know owns a
that's what they
restaurant?
did. That's what they did.
That's so fucking
That's what they
funny.
did. And
Yeah.
I used to listen to my friend's brother who was older gave me albums. I listened to Mort Saul. I listened to Bill Cosby, Red Fox, Jackie Mason. These are the guys, even early, the bad boy of comedy. I'm trying to remember his name right now. The one that was always getting put in jail. He's on the Marvelous
Oh,
Mrs.
Lenny Bruce.
Lenny
Okay.
Bruce.
Okay.
And then later on, I listened to Pryor Carlin. I listened to Dangerfield. I just loved how empowered these guys were, that they were able to, get in front of an audience and make them laugh. That was the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And then in Richmond High School, 1982, it was the RHS variety show, and my friends were in a band, and I went up. I did half my material was Rodney Dangerfield, and the other half was stuff I wrote about my school at Ridgemont High School.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where the needle got stuck in the arm, and right there. And then and in my
Um,
yearbook, Johnny, it said, they called Big Ange Meat Sauce was my nickname.
Meat
I
sauce.
played for the football team. Said his aspirations to become a professional stand-up comedian. And my friend Dave Boyle and my friend Kevin McElhaney both said, "And you're the only guy that actually wrote something on his, yearbook page and actually followed through with it." So yeah,
That's great. So what, like, did you discover that, like, oh no, because you said you did your first couple of shows were in Vancouver, right?
Vancouver was the first one. I was in Vancouver for about a year.
Do you
I was
remember
getting
that
on the
day?
spots there.
Do you remember like the day that you were like, I'm gonna go sign up for
I
this open
remember.
mic?
I remember it was October. I went. The only other time I tried it was at high school, so I never really been to a club.
Mm-hmm.
So excited. I still remember like the excitement and the nerves.
Yeah.
I ate it many times there. It wasn't like I went up there and all these guys. Oh, I was a natural. I fucking dick. How many times? But I realized I appreciated the punishment. I said I'm gonna keep doing this, like, and find a groove, and I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I guess that's the point too. Like you liked it enough that you didn't really care if
I just wanted to do it.
you just wanted to do it. Yeah, that's
And
the
even when
best.
I stopped for a while, I got married in Ottawa. I stopped. I still go on Wednesday nights and host New Talent Night, Amateur Night. I still did that. Listen, nowadays, Johnny, people get into things because they want to be rich and famous.
Yeah, which is the
Don't
wrong
be a
reason.
comedian.
No, yeah.
Don't be a
Don't be
comedian.
you're gonna
Yeah,
spend
don't.
a long time
don't.
it's broke.
It's true. Like, you
Yeah.
can make money, you can be famous, you can be rich, but if that's your reason for doing it, just pack it in right now.
Yeah.
You gotta like doing it. You gotta like traveling. You gotta like not sleeping, getting fucked over. Driving from city to city, car to car, airplane to airplane, ship to land. I mean,
Do you remember a
that's
time
what
that
it
was
takes.
do you remember a time that was specifically like a low moment for yourself and like how you were able to get yourself out of that, or like a hard point in your career? How did you
Sure.
navigate it?
I was married, lost everything, was in jail.
How did you get put in
$900 in
jail?
a beat up car. I moved to Toronto. The lady was really ultra religious, said she didn't want showbiz people. So I was like, I didn't want to use my deposit to get a place. So I
Yeah.
slept in the car at Queen's Quay for 2 or 3 nights. I go to Timmy's and hang out, and then I found the place. And I went from having a business and everything, and I said, no, it's okay. There was times where it was tough. I had no money. So I go to acting class at Young and Bloor, and I could take the subway back to Pape and Danforth, or I could walk across. So it was I had 4, but the subway was $2.25. I had 2 toonies.
Mm-hmm.
So for $3.25, I can get a slice of pizza, chips, and a pop at Pizza. So I thought that's dinner. So I would do that and then walk. And then my friends at Mezez, I was living in Greektown, so a lot of the guys, the restaurants were closing up at night. They go in and hang out with them. They break out the coffees and some
Yeah,
sandwiches.
yeah.
So the Greek community in Toronto was really open their arms to me.
Mm.
Big time. so they were kind of intrigued with what I was doing. So,
So
and it
even
was
in those low moments, you were able to lean on your community and have them come
sure.
through and help you, eh?
Yeah, and they came through.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it's funny, I just did a show last week in Toronto. We had about 900 people. And it's
Incredible.
like now I think you go back and it's like it's a long, that's what I'm saying. It's a long road. And I'll be honest with you, there's even times now, once or twice a week, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, it's just not, I haven't seen my family. I'm tired. I haven't slept. I'm not eating right. And then all of a sudden they announce your name coming on stage. And you're like, showtime. You
Yeah,
gotta
you're
love this
like
job.
throw that shit out the
Right
window.
out the
Yeah, yeah,
window, buddy. You
yeah.
gotta love doing this. If
Oh
you know
man.
what they say, Johnny, if you love what you do, it's never considered work.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the goal, right? For myself is to become full-time stand-up because there is no greater feeling than just getting to do that. Just getting to do that. I love the podcast. I would love if eventually down the line some sort of income came for the podcast, but right now it's like I'm getting the same feeling I did when I tried stand-up for the first time. Is I feel like I'm rolling with this podcast and I'm just having fun getting to have these conversations with people
That's
like
great.
yourself. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
great. That's what it's about, right? And you're in Ottawa and you can, get involved in stuff. That's how you get material. Go to Golden Palace for egg roll.
Yeah.
Go to the casino.
Oh, I
Go to
sell
the
cars, so I'm gonna
racetrack.
get all the material in the world.
Go to Colonnade. Go to Parliament. I used to do this when
Yeah.
I lived in Ottawa. I go in the gallery and watch Question Period.
Interesting.
I just go there. You want to see the best comedy show in Ottawa? Right there.
Wow. Yeah,
Gallery at
true.
Question Period in the House of Commons with
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
slinging going
So
on there. It's amazing.
20 minutes away. And they're a little like snippy with each other too
They get
sometimes.
very snippy.
They get very
Well,
like,
the right honorable, I retract those remarks,
yeah.
and they sit there
But there's
yelling
this
and
like
screaming at each other.
there's this kind of like posh almost English like this guy over here thinks that he knows better.
Yeah, yeah.
And they kind of like it's
Oh, they're
crazy
they're
the way they
snippy,
yeah, the way they perform is so
especially Paul
performative.
Revere. I like watching Paul Revere and Trudeau going at it. It's the best roast battle in Canada.
We're not even
Is
gonna,
Paul Revere
but
and
most the
Trudeau.
crazy thing is most normal people don't even realize that that's going on. Like
They don't.
I feel like in like 10 years, we're going to look back on like a bunch of clips of this and go like, whoa, that was a crazy time. Like now you can look back at like the 2016 American debates and look at Donald Trump just insulting everyone in the Republican
Everybody,
Party. When they were doing the
everybody.
Republican primary, though, he's just like, you're boring, you're
They're
dumb,
boring, huge,
you're
big,
a loser. And it
little
was just
Marco
like,
Rubio, Ted Cruz. Yeah,
you watch it back and it's almost like comedy reality
it's
TV.
comedy.
You're like, how is this allowed?
I'm telling you, Paul Revere and Trudeau is the best roast battle in Canada. Forget the ones they have on CTV
Someone
or
should edit
Comedy
that.
Channel. Go to the House of Commons. Paul Revere, Trudeau roast battle.
Someone should
That's
edit
the
the
best one.
logos in and post
I
that on
love
the
it.
roast battle page. Yeah, for sure.
No admission fee. As a Canadian citizen, you go watch it.
What's your writing process and has it changed over the years? Like have you like tried to do it one way and then discovered that there was like a better way for you?
I have notes, right? Like I give an example. I suffer from dyslexia.
Okay.
So, for me, it's like I still have notes. Or I got these notes. What
Well, I can't
happens? A
read
lot
them.
of the writing I'm doing is on stage. So between this stuff and my phone. So if something's funny, Johnny, I put it on my notes.
Mm-hmm.
I bullet it. Then I think, what was funny about it? Then I need to write it out by hand. I'm still old school.
Yeah.
I think most comics still do that. I'll write material by hand, and make the notes. And what I do is by that, I could be anywhere. It could be in Cincinnati on an airplane, at my daughter's dance school, whatever it is. And then I put it down. Then I bring the notes together. Then I kind of separate them. And then I'm like, okay, will this work? Like I got some right here now. Will this work?
Mm-hmm.
Is this going to work? Is that going to work? Where does it fit? So, and a lot of times I find if I've said something on stage that I think I wasn't scripted, or which happens most of the time, And it's funny enough where I say, okay, is it funny enough where I can carry it with me? Or is it just funny enough that it worked in Niagara Falls? Or it worked
Yeah.
in, like with all the car theft in Canada, I was in Toronto and I got up on stage and I pulled up my phone. I said, before I do my act, I have to make an announcement. I said, the person with the black BMW 7 Series license plate ONT 178, your car's in Africa. So,
Did that
you got
just crush
that's
immediately?
yeah, and they got a big laugh.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
thing
yeah.
is, with all the car thefts going on in Canada, so now that's something that would work regional Canada. So I
Yes,
wrote
yeah.
it down. That may not necessarily work in America or I'm going to Australia in a couple of weeks. It's not,
Mhm.
unless they're having the same issues Canada's have. Leave your keys by the door.
Yeah, yeah.
Thieves can come and steal your car.
That's the tough part about comedy, right? Because like in order to create the illusion that it's sort of coming off the top of your head, you have to kind of have these like single use bits. Like
Well,
these very
yeah. I
like
mean, because
topical, like kind of what everyone else is thinking about to kind of break that tension so that you can get into more maybe about your personal life or something that you
right.
saw. They're not just going to accept that immediately.
No, because you look at guys like Ian Bagg or Russell Peters, who are masters at it, but they're talking to the audience. So, oh, you're both pilots, or do you work for the military? You work for American Airlines, blah, 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 blah. And they're
Yeah.
rapid fire. But they're capturing those moments now, putting them up on social media. And they're both brilliant at doing it. Mike Bullard was good at it. Russell, Ian Bagg. These guys are masters at doing it.
Mike Wilmot
But
said he's like Ian
Mike,
Bagg is the only person that he will watch crowd work clips of. He's like everybody
I
else
mean,
doesn't even come
Ian's
close.
brilliant. He's a good buddy of mine.
Yeah.
Mike, I love the thing about Mike, he goes on a rant.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
I
his
was over
style.
there
Yeah.
and the guy was looking at me. And what are you looking at? Gypsy meat? Do you pierce it? Yeah. Mike lays it down and Mike's got
Yeah.
you punched in the corner. You're laughing so hard you can't stop laughing.
Yeah.
What am I doing? Do I go over here? Do I go there? What the fuck's going on? I mean, he's so frantic, yet he's so brilliant at the same time. He's fucking funny.
Yeah.
All those guys, Hempstead, Derek Edwards, Tim Nutt's another guy Tim Nutt's the boxer that angles you into the corner. And then you're like, shit, this is funny. And you got so many. The funniest guy I ever saw live anywhere, ever, Mike McDonald. The Mike McDonald. There was no motherfucker funnier than him, Johnny. He was doing 3-hour shows before anybody. That guy was the funniest guy live ever, in my opinion.
I had a couple like one-on-ones with him in the green room at Yuck Yucks in Ottawa just when I just happened to be in town and on a show, and he came in to just watch he was watching Darren Frost is who I was opening for, and he was just so like kind backstage and just like very like just himself, like who he was on stage. He was also, because he had just done Mark Maron's podcast, and I was like, oh, how was that? And he's like, it was all right. Like, it's like, we both share the same like negative outlook on life. Like he was just
Mike became
ranting.
kind towards the end of his life because he was the biggest prick to be in the fucking green room with. He was never nice to people. I can tell you. And I love the guy. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah.
Biggest prick you'll ever work with was him. But the most brilliant comic at the same time.
Do you think that Sam Kinison story is true? Where he like I can't remember. I wish I remember where I heard this, but like they I guess like Sam is like he was like shooting up. He was like doing like heroin or something. And he starts like it hits him and he goes, "Oh, Mike, what the fuck?" Like and Mike, instead of calming him down, just like leaned over him and was just like, and now the devil gets to take one, or like he just like said something ominous.
Yeah, I believe it.
Just ominous to freak him out further. And I was
they were
like,
buddies.
What a fucking insane story, though.
Because they're both psychos.
Yeah.
I opened for Sam Kinison I had 5 minutes, Johnny.
Yeah.
Nobody didn't know who he was. He came to Canada. I opened for him at Ottawa Yuck Yucks, 1985 or six.
Is
And
that
I
the one
thought
where
he
he
was the
walked
Antichrist.
everyone?
That changed my life as a comedian. After he finished, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I we didn't have internet, social media. We didn't know who the fuck he
Yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah. It's just out of the
He
blue.
just
You're
came up
like,
and started doing it. And we were like, what? Amazing.
were you there with the nights where like Breslin paid him to walk the crowd, basically?
Yeah. I mean, Mark brought him to
Sorry.
Ottawa.
Yeah,
I had 5 minutes. I opened for him.
I'm so happy. I got that
For five
story out
minutes.
of Mark. Like if you listen to the Mark Breslin episode that I did, he tells that story of
Yeah.
going to the Comedy Store, and he's like, they showed me, they did a showcase and they showed me all the comics, and I was gonna pick one and bring them back to Canada. And then after those comics were done, they put Sam Kinison on stage to kind of like let the room like leave. Like he was like the closing act, not the headliner, like the janitor
Closing.
cleaning up after
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
And Breslin goes, I want the
That's the
last
guy.
guy. I want the last guy. And they're like, oh, yeah, Steve, whatever. He's great. You know, he wears a nice suit. No, 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 no. The last guy. They're like, Sam Kinison? You want Sam Kinison? And he's like, yeah, I want that guy.
Breslin has a great eye for comedy, man. I mean, he wasn't
Truly.
wrong.
Yeah.
He
And
was
he
not
was
wrong.
dead
That's the
right.
guy.
Yeah. And like,
He just thought that was
Kinison
brilliant.
became massive. Like he's like a bit of a, I don't know, a bit of a cautionary tale, I guess, now when you look at like how he just skyrocketed in this fame where he was like the
Yeah.
comic, the best comic for like
Yeah.
85 to 87, maybe, like was like on top of the world and then just crashed. Showing up to the Comedy
Drugs.
Store with a gun and like what
Yeah,
the
he
fuck?
shot at the belly room. He shot dice, trying to shoot dice clay. The bullet hole's still on the wall.
Oh
My
man.
friend Noel does it. If you ever come, I'll take you. You can see the bullet hole. They left it in the wall of the belly room at the Comedy
Wow.
Store.
Are you in
And
LA now?
I'm in LA now. Yeah, I live here.
Oh, okay. Nice, nice. Yeah, I was gonna
Finally
say.
got home after being on the road for 30 something days.
Yeah, yeah, damn. So what time is it there now? Oh, it's like probably
Right now
mid-afternoon
it
for you,
is
eh?
4:35 in the afternoon.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great thing about doing Zoom is I can like connect with anyone wherever they are, but then
Sure.
I always forget to factor in like, oh, what time might it be there?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Like anyone in the
Right.
UK, that's a super difficult one. I got to do it at like
Right.
10 o'clock or something.
Right.
Something crazy in the evening.
Or if they're in Australia, they're ahead of us, behind us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. How do you like living in LA?
I like it. I mean, my wife's here, my daughter's here. I'm not here. I'm on the road between 250 and 275 days a year.
Amazing.
So I'm really here a lot. Does it really
Yeah.
matter where I live, Johnny? I mean,
Yeah, right. I guess
but
it's
I
nice
think
to come home
this
to warmth and
yeah, it's
palm trees.
88 degrees
Yeah,
today here.
that's
It's
fucking
88 and
amazing.
sunny. So that's why I like LA. It's not the clever conversation. Gas is $6 a gallon. Our governor Mussolini is a dickhead. He's very
Newsome
much like Trudeau. We got the worst fucking governor here, but what are you gonna do? We're paying $6 a gallon for gas. Everywhere else is paying 2.53.
Yeah, yeah. Like Canada, we're up to like $1.65 for
Yeah,
just like
but for
regular.
carbon tax. Yet Trudeau drives around in his private fucking jet. Seriously,
Bro,
dude.
the craziest one is Jagmeet saying how much money he's made. I'm like, yo, this
Yeah,
guy, because he's praised like everything he's talking about is the opposite of how he's living his life. And
yeah,
like,
of
there's
course.
no greater indicator than me than like, I'm 32 and I've already learned by now that like, you don't trust someone's words, you trust their actions because like their actions
Bingo.
will show you their true intentions.
Yeah,
And if this guy's walking
bingo.
around with a fucking Rolex on, buddy,
Oh, yeah.
nobody's voting NDP now.
But NDP, let's save the people while I'm sporting
Yeah,
Rolexes
you're like, come
on my
on.
junkets off to Hawaii. Shut the fuck up. So,
That's
just be honest.
yeah,
I want to go
exactly.
to
Oh
Hawaii.
man.
I want to bang whores.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go,
yeah.
man. Let's sell oil, man. Let's fucking do it, Canada. Let's just do it.
Yeah, yeah. You're like, let's go through with it.
Canada's got everything, Johnny.
Yeah.
Oil, lumber, water, minerals, got
They
everything.
just won't let
Gas.
us play with our toys. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's it.
Just
Trudeau,
let
I want
Alberta run some
whatever.
stuff for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. um, What was the move like for you being like starting as a Canadian comic, going to America? I know that's not like an easy thing to do. You've got to have like
Was it?
references and you've got to have money for an immigration lawyer. And so what was that process like for you? Did you have to save up first, or was it sort of like facilitated through something
No,
like?
no, I saved up. I got myself an immigration lawyer in Toronto. I came to visit LA. I love Toronto. That's where I restarted my career. I mean, I was doing a lot of television commercials, a lot of film, TV shows, a lot of comedy. And then I thought, I'm going to go to LA. That was my end game. And I saved up my money. I was making some money. I got myself an immigration lawyer, paid the immigration lawyer. You need X amount of dollars. When I got to LA, funny enough, I had a girlfriend named Kim. We're coming down to LA and we're going to sublet a place in Valley Village. And I go to the place to meet, and the two guys that were renting it were two comics from Montreal, Jerome Sable and Eli.
Okay.
Uh, Two nice Jewish boys from Montreal.
Okay.
Jerome's actually a film director now.
Oh, sweet.
And we ended up renting from two Canadians anyway. And I remember coming in to do shows at Russell in Sacramento and San Francisco. Then I rented a car at the airport. I met the guy. I met Illy at the In-N-Out Burger in Van Nuys, and he gave me the keys at midnight to go. So subletting the place,
Wow.
and it was just a futon. I put a blanket. I just put my luggage in there, and
Just
I didn't know
enough to,
anybody in LA. A
yeah, yeah.
few people, but not many.
Did you find it difficult to like connect with the comedy community there? Because I know who was I talking to?
Not easy.
Yeah, I was talking to Deborah DiGiovanni, and she was basically like, trying to get past at the comedy stores. Like, you feel like you're restarting your career. Like
Sure.
you're auditioning night after night after night for many years before they're like, okay, I guess you're good enough.
Isn't it funny how someone like Deb Giovanni or myself, right? You can be headline status on TV in
Yeah.
Canada. You come down here and they're like, I was lucky because one night I was at the Laugh Factory. Jamie Masada was there.
Mm.
And Russell was there and stuff. So he saw me, goes, go on, do 10 minutes. He put me on the spot. And Russell leaned over to me and said, just go do your best 10 minutes, Ange. And I went up and did it. And he goes, okay, you're passed. So sometimes you get lucky.
Yeah,
And then I'm not a big comedy store fan. We do the Canada show every year there. We were doing it. I like Comedy Magic Club, Hermosa Beach,
yeah. Mm.
Laugh Factory, Long Beach here, and then maybe the Ice House in Pasadena sometime.
The Ice House is a
Improv
beautiful
and comedy
spot.
store, not big cup of tea.
Yeah. Is it like an
Yeah.
audience thing for you? Is it like how it's
No,
run?
it's all politics here too. It's like
Mm.
anything.
Yeah, of
So I've
course.
been, and now I haven't been. They keep getting asking me. I've been so busy lately. I just can't get on stage here, and like, so I'm not here. So yeah.
Yeah, of course. If you're like out and touring, and how do you, with the tour schedule that you have, and maybe you haven't figured it out yet, but I'm always curious to know
Yeah.
how do you find balancing like comedy with everything else in life? Because for me, like I can't relax. Like I can't if my girlfriend wants to go on vacation, I'm like, I can't just lay on a beach. The whole time in my head, I'm going to be thinking like, I should be inside writing. I should be
Yeah.
trying to figure out what stage I can get onto. Like, it always feels like time lost because, like,
Look,
as a
it's a
comedian, you're
great
your own entrepreneur, right?
it's a great question. I'll tell you why. Most people can't separate the two. You have to separate.
Yeah.
After we finish today, we're having a spaghetti party. We're gonna make spaghetti. I'm inviting my buddies to come over. Then we're gonna burn some wood in the back in my back of my house here. I have a fire pit. A lot of my friends are in the business. You need to separate yourself at some point. You need to go to Costco. You need to go to your kid's dance recital. You need to go to Ralph's. It's hard. Yes, everything you said is accurate. Try to separate, but I do. I'm like, you got to work at things every day, but I got to be a husband, a father, a dad, everything, a friend, keep up with stuff. Not easy sometimes because, our schedules are crazy.
Yeah.
Because with comedy, you're either you have no time to breathe or you have all the time to breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm at this stage where I'm just accepting any opportunity that gets thrown my way. So it's especially difficult to try to
Just do it.
balance it. Of course, but like I get what you're saying about just separate it. Like just when you're not actively thinking about comedy, just allow yourself to be. And I suppose that's also how we mine and find information for jokes in the first place, is just
Exactly.
mindlessly, like, doing what you need to do in the real world
Exactly.
and not always thinking about comedy.
Exactly.
It's hard not to.
It's
Another
true.
question I always ask my guests, and so I want you to think of yourself as you at 15 years old. So think about like who you were at that time. And
Right.
the phone rings and it's you now on the other end. You can give yourself a piece of advice based on what you know now. What do you say?
Don't fucking do it.
He's like, do
No,
what?
you know what? You know what I would have said to myself? Take more chances. And I'm thinking a lot more. If I was calling myself at 50, I'd say, don't be scared. Take more chances. Take more chances. You're young. Do it. It's funny. We are our own obstacles. And I would tell
So
my now, if I call myself at 15, fucking go for everything. Just go for it. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Yeah, like just figure it out. That's what I'm realizing more about life is like,
Just figure it out.
I'll just always figure it out. Like whatever scenario I put myself in, the human mind is just gonna figure it out. And you just
Right.
kind of have to trust that
100%.
and lean
And
on the
that's what I do
community.
now. And we all you have to take chances. Of course, you got to move, talk to people, take chances. But I would have taken more chances, I would have said.
Yeah, I know. I love that. He's like,
Yeah.
all right, that 15-year-old will be pumped up on that on that
Well, and
information.
bang more chicks.
Yeah, chances.
Well,
Take
why'd
more
you hold
chances.
back? You know?
It's all wrapped into one, right?
But yeah,
Angel, I'm gonna share your stuff here for people watching on YouTube. Thank you. Don't forget to hit that
yeah.
subscribe button. It always is super helpful.
Thanks.
Go follow Angelo on Instagram. It's Angelo Tsarouchas. All of the links are in the description below. Go check it out on Facebook, his Twitter
Yes.
page at Big Ange Comic. Subscribe to the YouTube page, Angelo Tsarouchas. That's in there as well. And go to
Great.
tsarouchas.com for all upcoming shows, tickets, and more information. Is there anything else that you want to talk
No,
about that project-wise you got coming
I,
up?
I like the way you do it. I'm working on a television series. I can't really say too much right now. It's I signed an NDA, non-disclosure agreement.
Okay.
But if it goes through, which I knock wood, hope it does, then we can come back and we can talk about it then.
Yeah, definitely. Would love
Yeah.
that for sure.
The only thing I'm doing now is I'm getting ready to go to Australia for a tour coming up in May.
Cool.
Yeah.
This will be I bank my episodes so that I never miss a week. So this one comes out June 21st. So it's
June 21st. Okay, the day before my birthday.
Oh, nice. Look at that for
There you
timing.
go. Good.
It's the universe. Angela,
There you
thanks
go.
so much for making the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Johnny. Thanks
Definitely
for having
come
me on
back.
your podcast. I like it, man. Let's do this again.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
Keep doing
once your
it. Keep
TV
getting
show
on
comes
stage.
out. Yes.
Get on stage anywhere. Fucking restaurants, doesn't matter. Just get your ass on stage. It only gets better.
I love it. All right, Angela. Hope you have a great rest
Thanks,
of your day.
brother. Thanks, bud. Thank you.
You've been listening to The Johnny Rogers Show. New episodes air every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.